Good evening, my excellent biology students. Hope you are doing fine, and I hope you had a wonderful day. So please let me know if I am audible enough. Someone to comment in the comment section if I am audible. So just let me know if I'm audible enough. Someone to just confirm if I'm audible enough. Wonderful, wonderful. Good evening, everyone. I hope you had a good day. For me, I had a hectic day. So first of all, I would like to apologize. We were supposed to have a live class. I was supposed to give feedback to assignment one, assignment two last week, but these past few days have been hectic for me because of Zesco. So you'll find that the time you're supposed to give feedback, your phone is low. The time I'm supposed to go live, the PC is low. So it has been really hectic in terms of balancing up this Zesco schedule in my area. But I'm getting a new power bank because I think even my power bank is now drained to a point that it cannot charge my phone for me to be able to conduct some of the group programs. So this week we have to have a smooth week because this past week things haven't really been smooth due to this load shedding which is affecting our classes. Otherwise, I apologize on that part. So yeah, please let me know if I'm audible and if everything is clear on your end. So Miss Cynthia has confirmed that I'm audible as well as Miss Anna. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Okay. So this will be a short class because I just want to talk about some things that I noticed in the assignments. Okay. As I was going through the assignments, there are some things that I noticed which I want to talk about in this live class. Okay. So before I even talk about the things that I noticed in your assignments, let me just quickly have a class with you. So in the previous class under the nervous system, we looked at the sensory neurons. So today we're going to look at motor neurons, and then later on I'll talk about the things that I noticed as I was marking the assignment. Okay, which is the assignment for last week. Okay, so yeah, so are we ready to learn? Are we ready to learn? Someone to say, ready, sir. Wonderful. So, in the previous class, we looked at the definition of the nervous system. We defined what the nervous system is, and we said that this is a system which is made up of the brain, it's made up of the spinal cord, as well as nerves. Okay, and we said that nerves are the basic functional unit of the nervous system. Without nerves, there is no nervous system. So nerves are very imperative in this system. Okay, that's what we discussed in the previous live class. And we mentioned some nerves or neurons, which are the sensory neuron, motor neuron, as well as relay neuron. So in today's class, we're going to look at motor neuron because we discussed the sensory neuron in the previous class. So when it comes to motor neurons, these are neurons that carry impulses from the central nervous system to effectors. Okay, these are simply neurons that carry or transmit impulses from the central nervous system to effectors. Okay, so when we're talking about the central nervous system, we are simply referring to the brain or the spinal cord. So these impulses are either coming from the brain taken to the effectors, or they are coming from the spinal cord taken to the effectors. So the motor neurons are simply neurons that will transmit electrical impulses either from the brain taking them to the effectors, or the spinal cord taking them to the effectors. Otherwise, The brain and the spinal cord, they are the ones that are forming up the central nervous system. So the motor neuron is transmitting impulses from those parts, the brain or the spinal cord. Okay, so these are neurons that carry impulses from the central nervous system to effectors. Now, when it comes to effectors, what is an effector? An effector is simply any part of the body that carries out a response to a nervous impulse. An effector is any part of the body that will carry out, okay, it carries out a response to a nervous impulse. What you need to understand is that a nervous impulse is as a result of a stimuli. A nervous impulse is as a result of a stimuli or stimulus. So, for example, as I am speaking right now, you're able to hear me. So, my sound, okay, the sound of my voice is the stimulus. And this stimulus, which is information, it will be converted into an electrical impulse. So, an impulse or a nervous impulse, it is as a result of a stimulus, of which in this case it is sound. A nervous impulse can also be as a result of temperature. So if you touch something hot, there's a change in temperature there. If you are feeling cold, there is a change in temperature there. So that temperature is the stimulus. It will be converted into an impulse. So a nervous impulse is as a result of a stimulus. Now, when there is a stimulus, you as an organism, you're going to respond to that stimulus. So if you're feeling cold, the skin will respond to that coldness. You will find that you will start having goosebumps on your skin. You will find that if it is too cold, your muscles will even start shivering. Likewise, if it is too hot, you will find that you're going to start sweating. Why? Because the pores on your skin will open, allowing sweat to come out. So there is a response there. So a stimulus will cause an organism to respond. If um, you put food into your mouth, you respond to that food. If you hear sound, you're going to respond to that sound. You understand? So stimulus will cause you to respond. Now, inside our bodies, there are parts that can also respond to stimulus, which is external. And these parts are known as effectors. So in your body, there are parts, different body parts, that can respond to stimulus. And these parts are known as effectors. So an effector is any part of the body that will carry out a response to an impulse which is as a result of a stimulus. Are you following? Are you following? I hope you are following, my students. An effector is any part of the body that carries out a response to a nervous impulse which is as a result of a stimulus. So if you touch something hot, a nervous impulse will be generated. Once that nervous impulse is generated, it will be transmitted through the sensory neuron going to the central nervous system. From the central nervous system, it will be carried by the motor neuron to the effector. And then there will be a response. Okay. So an effector is the one which is going to carry out that response due to the presence of a nervous impulse, which is as a result of a stimulus. Hope we're clear. So most effectors are glands or body organs such as muscles. And I'll try my best to give you examples as I am explaining, yeah? Because that's the best way you can never forget these things. So they're saying that most effectors are glands. Now, how are glands effectors? Let me explain. When it comes to glands, we learned in the endocrine system that glands secrete hormones. And what hormones do is that they stimulate. The other word for stimulating is to influence. So if you are not feeling like studying, and then you have your friend who loves studying comes around. When you just see them, they are studying, and then you also start feeling like you have to also study. What that friend has done is that they have influenced you. In other words, they have stimulated you to study. So, hormones stimulate organs to carry out a response. Hormones stimulate body parts to carry out their specific function. So they are effectors in a sense that in if there is a change in your environment and you have to respond, they are going to secrete a hormone to help you respond. So as a result of that change, there's I want to explain this in a sense that you are going to understand it. I want you to follow me, my students. Listen, most effectors are glands or body organs such as muscles. Now, I want to explain what they mean by glands being effectors. What we are saying is that an effector responds to a nervous impulse. So, glands can also respond to a nervous impulse. Let me give you an example. If someone slaps you, have you ever been slapped before? Ah, I remember there was this game that we used to play, Dance Dance. Who remembers Dance Dance? Have you ever played that game, Dance Dance, where before you sit, you have to dance? Mhm. So if you sit without dancing, from nowhere, actually, you just hear a slap at you. So if you are slapped, the skin will detect that pressure from that hand, and you're going to feel the pain. Hmm? So that slap, it is a stimulus. Follow me. That slap, it is a what? It is a stimulus. The pain of that slap, it will be converted into an impulse. Then it will be transmitted to the brain, which is part of the central nervous system. And then the brain will be like, this person is in danger because the brain has received information of pain in form of an impulse. This brain, it will now carry that impulse, taking it to glands. I want you to follow me. This brain, once it receives that information, the pain, once it receives the pain, in your brain, there is a gland. This gland is known as the pituitary gland. This pituitary gland, it will respond to that pain by secreting adrenocorticotropic hormone. I'll repeat. The brain, it will receive the information of pain, and then in the brain there is pituitary gland. This pituitary gland, it is going to secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone. Let me even type it so that you can see it. Adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone. I've typed it. I'll even put it. Adrenocorticotropic hormone is a hormone that is going to stimulate the adrenal glands to secrete a hormone known as adrenaline. I'm sure we've heard of adrenaline, right? Have you ever heard of adrenaline? Someone to comment in the comment section. Have you ever heard of adrenaline? Have you ever heard of adrenaline? So, The brain will receive the information of pain in form of an impulse. And then in the brain, there is a gland known as pituitary gland. This pituitary gland, it will secrete a hormone known as adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone is going to be secreted by the pituitary gland. Then this hormone, it will stimulate the adrenal glands to secrete adrenaline. Are you seeing that now there's a response from the glands as a result of that impulse, which is carrying the information of pain? There's a response. These glands are going to respond to the presence of that impulse, which is carrying information of pain. The impulse is now telling the brain to say this person is in pain. So you have to secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone is secreted by a gland, and it is secreted so that adrenaline can be also secreted. So let me say that again. Let me say it one more time. When someone slaps you, that slap is an impulse. The information of that slap, it will be translated as pain. That pain, it will be in form of an impulse and it will be taken to the brain. The brain will now analyze that information and it will realize to say, okay, this person is in pain. What are we supposed to do? Inside the brain, there is a gland known as pituitary gland. So this pituitary gland, it will respond to that impulse. That is why glands are effectors. They respond. It will respond to that impulse by secreting adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone will now be transported by blood to the adrenal cortex or the adrenal glands. And the adrenal glands, they're going to secrete adrenaline, which will now help you respond to the situation, either running away or fighting back. But all I'm saying here is that the glands are responding to the slap. So if you are slapped, an impulse is generated, and then glands are going to respond to that impulse. That is why glands are also considered to be effectors, because they're going to respond to that impulse. Once they respond to the impulse, they're going to secrete a hormone. Are we clear, my students? And then, so most effectors are glands or body organs such as muscles. So when you are running, or when you touch something hot, it is the muscles that are going to help you respond to that heat by helping you withdraw from that hot pot or that hot object. So now, motor neurons have the following characteristics. The first one, they carry impulses from the central nervous system to the effectors. That's the first thing that you need to know. They carry impulses from where? The central nervous system to the effectors. That's number one. Number two, they have long axons and short dendrites. Long axons, short dendrites, as you can see there on the diagram, though it might not be that clear. And then three, their cell bodies are terminally located, meaning located at the end. The cell bodies of the motor neurons are located at the far end. Therefore, they are terminally located. Yeah, yeah. So this is what you need to know under motor neurons. They simply transmit electrical impulses from the central nervous system to the effectors. And then effectors, they are the ones that carry out an impulse. I mean a response to an impulse. And examples of effectors are glands or body organs such as muscles. Okay, are we clear, my students? Are we clear? Are we clear? Okay, yeah. So now, um, what I wanted to talk about, there are some things that I noticed as I was marking your assignments, and I just have to highlight these things. So please take note of what I'm going to say. Okay. So the first thing is this: work presentation, my excellent students. Work presentation is very important when it comes to biology. Okay. If as you are writing your work or your answers, if you're not clear as you are writing, it will be so hard for the marker to see. You know, some people they fail because of how they are presenting their work. Work presentation, it matters. It's very important how you present your work. So you have to ensure that you are neat. I remember, my teacher used to say, as you are writing answers in an exam, do not use your handwriting. Do not use your handwriting. Write in another handwriting which is clear for the examiner to see, because they are people, they are also people, they can make mistakes if you're not clear in how you're writing your answers. So mosalemba vikwalakwala, write in a neat way, and you should be writing in order. It should be clean and neat, because how you present your work matters. It can kill you, it can cause you to fail if your work is not neat. So you have to ensure that as you are writing, as you are answering questions, if I give you an assignment, write nicely. Question one, you answer, you put your answer. Question two, you put your answer. Question three, you put your, write nicely. By now you need to have a book. I do not want to be seen to my channel, to my diary. Don't write your answers into my diary. Buy a book. Get a book, that big book, the one not a small book kajaka. No, 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 no. Buy a proper book. Buy a book. That's the one you'll be using to write your assignments. And be neat. Write your name nicely. Some of you don't even write your names. So it's now hard for me to even know who I'm marking. Write your name. When you write your name, start writing your answers, and be neat in how you're presenting your work. When you're done answering an assignment, you need to ask yourself, is the sir going to see? Because if I don't talk about this, you're going to take the same things, the same habits of not being neat in that exam room. I don't want that. You have to write in a neat way, because it matters how you present your work, my students. It matters. So you have to be clear, you have to be clean, neat, how you're presenting your work. So I don't want to be seen to my diaries. No, 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 no. Use a book and get a clear picture. So the first thing that I have noticed is work presentation. It's only a few that write neatly. For most of us, our we have to improve. The way we're writing, we have to improve. Work presentation matters when it comes to biology. Number two, spellings. Spellings. Let me say this again. Spellings. 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 In case you didn't know, if you are defining a term and then you misspell a word, the whole thing that you've defined, even if it's correct and I know that this is the answer, the whole thing is wrong. For example, if you are defining photosynthesis, and then photosynthesis, the word, you've misspelled it. You've left out, let's say, y in that word. The whole definition, even if it's correct, it becomes wrong, because then you have formed another word. Spellings matter in biology. Spellings. Photosynthesis, write it the way it is. Adrenocorticotrophic, write it the way it is. Gluconeogenesis, write it the way it is. So you have to pay attention to spellings as you are studying. Spellings are very, very important in biology. Spellings. That's the second thing that I have noticed. For some of us, spellings, no win, no win. And when you're writing these assignments, try by all means to to just do it without a book. Test yourself, my students. It doesn't make sense you get 100% but you didn't even understand. It doesn't make sense. You have to feel nice that you've gotten 100% because everything that you were answering there was coming from your head. Because you're being trained for an exam where you're not going to use a book. So these assignments that you're given, try by all means not to use your book. Study, then try out the assignment. Not you're writing an assignment using a book. You're not doing anything there. You are not doing anything there. Study, then close that book and try out the assignment. Study, close that book, then answer the multiple choice questions. Study, close that book, then write the essay. That's what you should be doing. Because I know some of you, you even Google answers. You should know that this answer didn't come from this person's brain. It's either Google or AI. Something here was working, not their brain. So you have to train yourself now. The results that you want, they won't come easily. You have to put in some work. So train yourself. There is a saying that the more you bleed, the more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in battle. The more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in battle. Let me even write it. The more you sweat in training, hmm, the less always remember this. Always remember this. The more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in battle. This is the time for you to sweat. Train yourself. Do not rely on a book for answers when I give you an assignment. You are not training yourself there. You're killing yourself. You have to train yourself. So study, close that book, do the assignment. Not you are doing the assignment, you're even checking. Doing the assignment while checking in the book. You're not doing anything there. Trust me, you're not. You get 100%. Yes, that's nice, but you haven't gained anything. It's better you've even eaten 45% and it came from your head. It's better than getting 100% and you were checking in the book. It's better. Getting 45% without checking in the book is better than getting 100% and you were checking in the book. Way better. Because as you are doing these assignments, you are preparing yourself for the final exam. Which takes me to the other thing, sentence construction. If you are checking from the book, how are you going to improve your sentence construction skills? Because the way you construct your sentences matters. How you are communicating your answers to the examiner, it matters. So if your English isn't proper, it will kill you. Because the only way you can improve your sentence construction is if you're relying solely on your brain as you are writing your answers, not you're checking in the book, because you're checking from the book. So obviously you're going to get what is already well constructed in that book. You transfer it to your answer sheet. But if the answers are coming from your head, you will start training yourself to write proper sentences. And that's what I want to start seeing. I want to start seeing answers from your brain, not from the book. When you study that book, close it, then write. Because that's what even encourages mastery. Instead of understanding, you want to master. No, 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 no. Let's not do that, my students. So these are the three things that I have noticed, and I thought of mentioning them before we can even proceed to February, March, because these are things that they can kill you in an exam. So make sure that one, you are neat. Two, spellings. Three, sentence construction. These things, you have to work on them. You have to work on them. You can have all the answers, but if you're poor at how you're presenting your work, that can kill you in an exam. That can kill you. So pay attention to that, my students. Pay attention to that. All right, we're going to end here for tonight. I'm still marking, because when I'm marking papers, I really take my time, especially when it comes to paper two. Paper one is easy to give feedback because it's just A, B, C, D. But when it comes to paper two, I have to also pay attention to how you're writing. And this is why I've decided to talk about this, because how you're presenting your work isn't impressive. That's why I was like, let me talk about this. So feedback will be done on paper two, and then we can you can receive an assignment for this week. So this week we're looking at respiration, and I'm thinking this week we'll have a lot of live classes, because some of these videos, they are old and I have to remake some of them. Otherwise, we're going to end here for tonight. And if at all there are questions, you can ask, but if not, we can end here for tonight. So are there any questions? Okay. So, so I really want to know how to write essays. Okay, I think I did send a video on how to write an essay, but I'll resend it in case you didn't see it. There's a video where I was explaining on how to write an essay, so I'll resend it so that you can watch it. Yeah. All right. If there are no questions, we can call it a day. My excellent biology students, thank you very much for joining tonight. Though the number is low, we are over 100 in the group, but only 20 of us have joined. So for some, it can be due to load shedding, but I hope they will watch the repeat of this live. Otherwise, from me, Mr. Philip Koma, the excellent biology tutor, have a good night, my excellent biology students.